I was living it up in the Manhattan. I was a very successful investment banker. I had a penthouse overlooking Central Park. Everything was perfect, so it seemed. Yet it would be my curiosity, the very quality that had driven my success, that led me into the shadows. One day, I received an invitation to a secret gathering. The invitation card was embossed golden pyramid with the face of an eye at its point. My curiosity got the better of me, so I went. It was said to be an evening of enlightenment and networking, but I had no idea what lay ahead. This party was held at some old grand mansion at the city outskirts. It loomed ominously in its Gothic architecture under the pale moonlight. A silent butler in black ushered me in through the massive wooden doors and led me to a hall filled with the elite of the city. The incense smelled thick in the air as low, eerie music played in the background. After an hour of milling around, the lights dimmed and the murmur of conversation quieted. A black-robed man mounted to the dais at the front of the room. His voice was smooth, almost hypnotic, as he welcomed all, speaking about the powers, riches, and secrets of the universe. A chill crept down my spine, yet curiosity rooted me where I stood. He then beckoned us all to follow him down into the lower levels of the mansion. We followed him down a winding staircase into some dimly lit underground chamber. The walls were draped with ancient runic symbols and tapestries of dark rituals. There was a large stone altar in the center. Candles cast flickering shadows on the walls. My unease grew as I realized this was not just some kind of social gathering. The man in the cloak began to chant some language that I did not understand, and the crowd replied in unison. The atmosphere became oppressive. My heart pounded in my chest. I wanted to leave, but something held me back. The chanting suddenly stopped, and the man in the robe approached me.
"You have been chosen,"
he intoned. A hand closed around my arm, and I was pulled towards the altar. Panic surged through me, but the crowd closed in around me. Leaving no way out, they tied my wrists with leather straps and placed a heavy, ornate dagger in my hands.
"Prove your loyalty."
The figure whispered, with his eyes on my very soul.
"Sacrifice your fear, and you shall gain powers beyond any wild dream."
My mind was racing. I had never believed in the supernatural, but this was starting to get incredibly shrill, and the crowd ever more feverish. With shaking hands, I raised the dagger. Then, at that moment, there was a crash deafeningly echoing through the chamber. The wall behind the altar crumbled, and a group of armed men charged into the room. They yelled,
"FBI, open up!"
Pandemonium reigned as the agents moved swiftly, arresting the cloaked man and his followers. I was unchained from the altar and led to safety. Turned out the FBI had been investigating this cult for years, suspecting them of illegal activities and human sacrifices. The experience shook me to the core. I returned to my penthouse, and nothing seemed to be the same again. There was no shying away from the memories of that night, the feel of a dagger in my hands, or the hypnotic gaze of the cloaked man. It hit me right then just how close I had come to losing myself in the darkness. From that day on, I lived in fear, always looking over my shoulder, haunted by the whispers of the Illuminati. I knew they were still out there, watching and patiently waiting for just the right moment to drag me back into their sinister world.